know. Sometimes you just get in a run where you feel very confident against an opposing team. You've done your homework. You've looked at the video. You've read the advance reports, and you feel very confident going into a game and a series against a certain opponent. And right now, the Diamondbacks have the Rockies' number.
And they are in their heads. There's no doubt about it. Starting pitcher for Colorado, 23-year-old right-hander German Marquez, 7-8, an ERA just under 5. He's pitched well lately, wins in his last 2 starts, beating the Dodgers and the Mariners, both on the road.
He has a 4-pitch mix, fastball, curveball mostly, will mix in sliders and changeups. Occasionally he'll try to sink his fastball, try to get some ground balls, but you're going to see a lot of fastballs and a lot of curveballs.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Rockies defense today.
Carlos Gonzalez out in right field tonight with Charlie Blackmon in center. Former D-back Gerardo Parra over in left field. It'll be Nolan Arenado at third. Trevor Story at short. DJ LeMahieu at second base. Ian Desmond at first. Tony Walters doing the catching tonight for right-hander German Marquez.
Chad Whitson is calling the balls and strikes behind the plate. The crew chief Mike Winters is our first base umpire. Tim Timmons at second, and Rob Drake is at third tonight. D-backs 10 over 500, 51-41. They lead the National League West by a game and a half over the Dodgers. The Rockies are 4.5 behind. The Giants played a long one before they finally prevailed over the Cubs, 5-4 in extra innings in San Francisco.
Yeah, Buster Posey with a game winner, hit a ball off the wall in right field to drive home the game winner in the 13th inning, I believe it was. Long ball game this afternoon out by the Bay.
So you've got 4 teams all within less than 5 games of one another in a very tightly compacted National League West. John Jay will lead it off. We're set to go. Game 2 of 3, the D-backs and the Rockies. Jay in right field, 287 and 2 home runs.
And we should remind the viewers at this time of day at Coors Field, very tough visibility on throws from the left side of the infield to the first baseman, including pickoff throws from the mound. We saw Nolan Arenado pick up a ground ball in the hole between third and short and run almost all the way to second base before he threw the ball across the diamond to Desmond last night, just to keep it out of the sun.
I've got that sun starting to set behind the left field foul pole. Really tough on the first baseman. Ian Desmond out there tonight. And it's going to be like that for a while here for several innings. 1-2 on John Jay. German Marquez averages 96 miles an hour with that hard 4-seam fastball. He'll throw it half the time. He's touched 100 with that pitch this year. His out pitch is that big, sharp curveball. He used to be pretty much just a 2-pitch guy, but he's maturing now. And lately he has consistently mixed in his slider, sinker, and changeup. Secondary stuff has come a long way. So they are very pleased. And he strikes out John Jay with a breaking ball, 1 down.
Good breaking ball that time. Started at the bottom of the strike zone, ends up in the dirt. Tony Walters has to block it and apply the tag to complete the out that time.
Goldie batting in the 2 spot against the right-hander as per usual. 280 batting average, 20 home runs. There's the fastball at 97. Goldie singled and walked last night. He's hit safely in 4 straight. In with a fastball, 1-1.
Saw a lot of that last night from the Rockies pitchers against Paul Goldschmidt. We've seen a lot of that from everybody against Goldie. Pounding him inside off the plate with hard stuff. There it is again. He had to spin out of the way of several inside pitches last night.
That is belted deep to left field, and there it goes. 1-0 Diamondbacks. Well, last night Nick Ahmed, the second batter of the ball game, hit a solo homer, and tonight it's Goldie. That's number 21.
Well, that's what happens when you wake up a sleeping giant. A couple pitches off the plate inside. Goldie just rips a line drive out of here to left field over that 390 mark in about a second.
That's a free jumbo jack at Jack in the Box tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink. Well, we pointed that out in the open last time Marquez faced the Diamondbacks a month ago here. Goldie and Lamb went back to back. And then Peralta followed later in that inning. Here's a little squib shot that Marquez cleans up himself. 2 down.
Well, that was one more hop away from being an infield hit for Jake Lamb that time. Kind of a swinging bunt to the right side. Marquez made a nice play. If he doesn't make that play, Jake beats it out for an infield hit.
AJ in center field tonight, batting cleanup. 287 now with 12 homers. He homered here last night. AJ last night, dead center field, his first homer since May the 8th.
Really got good extension, good backspin on that ball. Carried a long way. Looked like Blackman might have a chance at the wall, but just did sneak over out there where Bambi lives.
Fastball is low. It's 1-1. Of course, AJ missed more than 40 games with that fracture in his left thumb, so it had been a while since he'd taken anyone deep. That good breaking ball from Marquez. 1-2. Mix again that curveball and the slider.
Yeah, there have been starts recently when Marquez has a better feel for the curveball. You'll see him throw that a lot more. If he has a better feel for the slider, he'll throw that more. But if he's feeling both of them, you'll see a pretty even mix.
As he continues to mature, still only 23 years old, Bud Black is thrilled with where he's at right now and how far he's come. You're going to see a lot of this guy over the next several years. Yeah, well, you should have had that one, Airman. Chad Whitson says no, it's 2-2. That was a good pitch. Marquez was halfway home. .98 in. He's really cranking up that velocity.
Even his curveball's registering in the low 80s. Most guys throw their curveball in the mid to upper 70s, but everything he throws is hard.
Yeah, he had a start against the Dodgers and then against Seattle where he was throwing 98, 99 in the 7th and 8th inning. But still, German Marquez has never beaten the Diamondbacks, and he's faced Arizona 9 times in his career, including 8 starts. But he's 0-4.
Yeah, a big part of that is the home runs. He's allowed 8 homers in 44 1/3 coming into tonight, and he's given one up to Goldie here in the first.
Fastball's up, and it's full 3-2. Peralta on deck. Blasted into left center. Base hit for AJ. Boy, that was a heck of an at bat.
Really good at bat. We're seeing the Diamondbacks do to Marquez what the Rockies did to Patrick Corbin last night, fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch to stay alive in the at bat. Hope to get a mistake and hit it hard somewhere.
9-pitch AB for Pollock. A 2-out single brings up Peralta. David at 290 and 16 homers. David had the big hit last night, the 3-run homer. Off left-hander Jake McGee, who just hung a slider.
Boy, he really did. Left it down and in right where David likes it. Didn't have much movement on it. Just off speed enough that the bat head got out in front of home plate. That was a long home run.
Way over the bullpen in the upper deck. 97 is way upstairs at 21. That was Peralta's 4th home run this year against a left-hand pitcher. Lays off a fastball away. 2 balls and 1 strike.
The train whistle in the distance. How appropriate.
I like that. Synergy. Got the train yard just behind center field there, the rock pile. Now 3-1.
If that's not an omen, I don't know what is. David will really like it in Seattle. Trains go by every 15 or 20 minutes.
AJ takes off. Peralta hits it right at LeMahieu. Goldie gets him started. His 15th career home run here at Coors Field. And the D-backs grab the early lead for Shelby Miller. DJ LeMahieu set to lead it off against your starting pitcher for the D-backs at Shelby Miller. Still looking for his first victory this year. Tonight, Shelby's 4th start in his return from Tommy John surgery last May.
Well, there have been encouraging signs. In his 14 innings of work, he's punched out 18 opposing batters, only 5 walks. Just hasn't been as fine with his command as the Diamondbacks are hoping he will be soon.
LeMahieu gets it started. Fastball is low. LeMahieu 269, 8 home runs. 1 for 5 last night. He singled and scored a run. Oh man, come on. Gotta have that. Gotta have that.
It should be 0-2. Instead, it's 2-0. And my math is not great, but I think Chad Whitson's missed more pitches already than Rob Drake did the entire ball game last night.
Yeah, Rob Drake had a good night last night.
Really good night.
There's a fastball in at 95, 2-1. Every start for Shelby has been one slow half step forward. Hopefully taking a big step ahead tonight. Get that first win. That's down the line and out of play. Valley Chevy Dealers has the Rockies lineup tonight.
DJ LeMahieu leading it off at second base. Charlie Blackmon will be out in center field with Nolan Arenado at third. Carlos Gonzalez out in right field tonight. Trevor Story at short. Gerardo Parra in left field. Ian Desmond at first base. Tony Walters doing the catching for right-hander German Marquez.
2-2. Oh man, he is dotting these fastballs and he's not getting the calls. That's right where you want that pitch. Man. Well, as you mentioned, Bob, he appeared, Shelby, to take some steps forward in his previous start. That was the loss to the Padres last Thursday in Phoenix. 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 1/3. Struck out 7 in that start. And Torrey said by far it was his best outing, and he continues to improve. But LeMahieu putting up a fight to start us off. Leadoff walk.
Now take a look at some of these pitches and you be the umpire. Caught the bottom of the zone, strike 1. Caught the bottom of the zone, strike 2. Instead it's 2-0. Boy, that's tough when you got to chew off more strike zone than you want to because the umpire doesn't give you the corners. This is what happens. Lengthy at bats. You have to throw the ball over the middle of the plate to get a call, and that's tough for anybody to pitch under those conditions. Our Nationwide Vision eye on the game.
Especially against this lineup in this ballpark.
Yeah.
Blackmon bats second, 277, 17 home runs. D-backs have the shift on. Time for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, here in the Rocky Mountains, they have a certain carbonated alcoholic beverage that they're very partial to, but for tonight, it's Shelby Miller time.
I like what you've done there. They did name the ballpark after beverage.
That carbonated beverage, yes.
That's a base hit into left center. LeMahieu digs for third. First two have reached for the Rockies. E.D. Marshall Jewelers a look around the diamond at the Diamondbacks defense.
David Peralta in left, A.J. Pollock in center, John Jay over in right field tonight. Jake Lamb will be at third, Ketel Marte at short, Daniel Descalso at second base with Paul Goldschmidt at first, Alex Avila doing the catching, and right-hander Shelby Miller on the mound.
Here's Nolan Arenado, leading Colorado in home runs and RBIs, 309. He is third in the National League with that OPS. Good curveball for strike 1. Arenado's 23 home runs, tied for the National League lead with Milwaukee's Jesus Aguilar. He homered here last night. Got that fastball in, 0-2. Remember what we pointed out last night about Arenado. This year, 10 homers and 25 RBIs in the first inning, the most in the major leagues. But Shelby's ahead 0-2. Up the middle and into center. LeMahieu scores to tie the game. Blackmon's at third. Another first inning RBI for Nolan Arenado.
Well, and you notice 2 base hits into the outfield, and both times the Rockies runner was able to advance from first to third. We talk all the time about Coors Field, how you have to play deep in the outfield because the ball carries so well, but then rollers through the infield almost guarantee that base runner is going to go the extra 90 feet.
So quickly that 1-0 lead is erased. Still nobody out. Here's Cargo. Carlos Gonzalez, 272, 8 home runs.
Well, not to belabor the point, but and we don't know what would have happened, but if Chad Whitson would have called the strikes he should have called on DJ LeMahieu, this could be a completely different inning. The Diamondbacks might already be back in the dugout swinging the bats again, but poor strike zone early for Chad Whitson has really cost Shelby Miller in this inning.
And the command of his fastball in that at bat was pinpoint.
Yep.
Right where you want it. Ground ball to second. Descalso. Marte. They can't turn it. Blackman scores, and it's 2-1 Colorado.
I mention all the time how it's tough to turn that double play from the right side of the field, and a little bit of a deliberate turn that time by Ketel Marte. Not quite as smooth as we've seen Nick Ahmed coming across that bag from the shortstop position, but they get the force at second. Cargo busting it down the line, realizing if he beats that relay throw, he gets an RBI.
Trevor Story, 286, 17 home runs. Another first pitch breaking ball from Shelby. That one misses low. Story had a pair of hits last night, including a double. He also struck out twice, hasn't conquered that mountain just yet. Although he has been better this year, cut down on the strikeouts. Breaking ball's a strike. Trevor Story having a huge July at the plate. He's had 2 hits in each of his last 5 games. 6 multi-hit games and 7 this month. That's down the line and into left. Gonzalez heads for third. They're on the corners with 1 out. Well, you said it, Bob. First to third is just routine in this ballpark.
I mean, unless that ball is hit really hard right at one of the defenders, it's an easy first to third advance most of the time.
Here comes Mike Butcher. Gerardo Parra will be the hitter. Whole infield gathered out there on the mound.
To stop the bleeding right here, get a double play ball, get a punch out, get an infield pop up, somehow keep those runners where they're at and get out of this inning with only 2 runs allowed. That would be a major step forward.
Well, hopefully you'll get a ground ball on a Parra here. 295, 5 home runs. 0 for 4 last night. Three singles and a walk in this inning, still just 1 out. Story takes off. Avila's throw is offline. Stolen base for Trevor Story, his 12th of the year.
It looked like Story was leaning over at first base a little bit in anticipation of that delivery. Got himself a great jump that time. Nice play by Marte to keep that ball out of center field. Was really fading toward the second base side of the bag.
It is in these situations that the Diamondbacks won the ball game last night. The Rockies were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They stranded 12. Another breaking ball blocked by Avila.
Well, don't discount the number of pitches Jeff Mathis blocked in the dirt last night, saving the Diamondbacks at least a couple, maybe 3 or 4 runs in that ball game. Nice job by Alex Avila that time to square up that breaking ball.
Waves at a pitch off the plate. That curveball for Miller. It's 2-2. Parra has excelled in these situations this year. He's a .362 hitter with runners in scoring position. Second and third, 1 out. Reaches out and pokes it down the line. Foul ball.
Hope you didn't have dinner reservations for postgame. This is a very deliberately paced ball game.
Well, we did 340 last night, and that was a 5-3 ball game.
Yeah.
This one's already got plenty of offense in the books. We're not through one. Fights off a fastball at 96. Well, if you've got to be anywhere for a long time, this is the place to be. It is another spectacular summer evening here in Denver, Colorado. Just beautiful. Bright, sunny all day. It was hot again, but it's very comfortable right now.
Yeah, last night after the sun went down, the temperatures dropped down into mid to upper 70s. Felt like San Diego, for crying out loud.
It was gorgeous. 2-2. Breaking ball low, full count. Ian Desmond on deck. Shelby needs to make a pitch right here. Got him. Big pitch for Shelby. Miller went to that curveball, gets his first strikeout.
Up and out over the plate that time. Kind of a backdoor breaking ball from Shelby Miller. Got the swing and a miss from Parra.
Here's Desmond, the first baseman. 217 and 17 homers. Remember, this is a guy that hits a lot of balls on the ground. Get a ground ball, get out of here. Taking all the way. Fastball at 96, 0-1. Desmond last night 1 for 4, a walk and an RBI.
And once again, another first inning where Shelby figures to be close to 30 pitches, if not over 30 pitches, before getting out of the bottom half of the first. Seen a lot of that recently. Long first innings, high pitch count first innings.
And guys who can't complete 5. It was like that again last night. Oh boy, we're not going to get anything right on the edges here. That was a pretty good pitch. It's 1-1.
It makes you wonder. I mean, Shelby's been hitting corners consistently, not only tonight, but in his start against the Padres. He was inside, outside on the corners. If his command is that good, you wonder why he doesn't scoot it over just a little bit. I mean, pitching coaches would tell you to continue to execute your game plan, throw to the corners. But if you got an umpire that's not going to give it to you, you might have to make an adjustment, get it back into the strike zone a little bit more.
That one slipped on him. It's 2-1. The fastball command has been tremendous. He's thrown some good curveballs. The curveball looked terrific last week. The cutter's been problematic from time to time. He throws kind of a flat cutter and gets in trouble. Tonight looking to work that fastball curveball combo. Desmond belts one way out of here. Oh my goodness. Ian Desmond, that's his 18th. And the Rockies have a 5-1 lead. That's just his 5th home run here at Coors Field all year.
That one went a long way. Somebody out there in Helton's hamburger shop got onions, pickles, and a baseball on their burger. Man, was that club. It made it all the way over the bleachers out onto the concourse in left field.
Yeah, that's a poke.
471 feet, the estimated distance on that Ian Desmond blast.
The catcher, Tony Walters. Well, a 5-1 lead in this ballpark does not mean a whole lot, especially in the first inning. Walters has not hit this year. 2 for 25 in his last 10 games. They're carrying 3 catchers right now. Saw Iannetta start the opener last night. Now he's fallen behind 3-0. The pitcher Marquez on deck. 32 pitches in the first and counting.
You know, you tell yourself as a starting pitcher that there's a distinct possibility you could have a start like this at Coors Field, but when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to see the big picture. Like you said, 5 runs in the first is nothing in this ballpark. But you've got to mentally wrap yourself around the idea that I'm going to give up some runs, I'm going to give up some hits, but trust that my offense and my defense are going to keep us in the ball game here, get us back into the ball game, and just got to do my best to stop the bleeding right here.
The pitcher bats in the first for Colorado. Here's Marquez.
And this guy can swing it a little bit. You got to be careful with him. Hitting 300 this season, 9 for 30 as a hitter.
Took a hack at a curveball. It's 0-2. Giants have already won 5-4. They beat the Cubs. Dodgers and Padres later tonight at Petco Park. Off of Shelby, knocks it down, recovers, and records the out. A 37-pitch first for Shelby Miller. Rockies send 9 to the plate, 5 score.
The Diamondbacks with a tall order here coming back. But guys, I want to talk about the bullpen right now. And of course, we had the 16-inning game on Sunday. That means 19 2/3 innings for this bullpen in the last 3 games. So even with an off day Monday, they're not exactly fresh. And that's one thing Torey Lovullo talked about earlier today. Since July, starters are going on average about 5 innings. Now, earlier in the season, it was 5 2/3. That adds up. He said, we cannot continue on that pace. This bullpen will be too tired by the end of the season. So obviously tonight it's going to be a tough one with Miller getting off to that rough start, but in general guys like Corbin and Ray and Greinke this past week have not gone deep. So that's something that this team has to get back to, though, eventually. Starters getting those 21 outs, guys.
Yeah, they have not even, Jody, been able to go the requisite 5 innings to qualify for a win, and that was especially ironic considering the score in Saturday's game against San Diego when they won 20-5.
Sometimes it's due to ineffectiveness, sometimes due to pitch count, but just can't get the starters deep enough in the ball game, so Torey can use that bullpen the way he wants to instead of the way he has to.
Robbie Ray will go here tomorrow afternoon. Zach Godley Friday in Atlanta. Ketel Marte starts off the second against German Marquez. There's the strike 0-1. Ketel 245, 8 homers. He walked twice last night. Well, we know one thing, it's Coors Field. We got plenty of time here, second inning, and they've pounded Marquez before, who's never beaten the D-backs, so stay tuned.
Yeah. I always found it kind of funny in this ballpark when the late great Don Baylor was managing the Rockies. He'd play his infield in the first inning of ball games, and I always thought to myself, there's a good chance that both teams are going to score 20 runs tonight. Why are you trying to cut down a run in the first inning? And he always used to say, you never know which one is going to be the winning run.
So true. We've seen it so many times here. That fastball just missed upstairs. It's 3 balls and a strike. Descalso, the former Rocky, on deck.
And as if the offense needed any more help in this ballpark, the wind appears to be blowing straight out to center field tonight.
There's a bouncer to LeMahieu.
Yeah, you combine this ballpark at altitude with some heat, some wind blowing out, makes you want to come out of retirement.
Yeah, we saw the ball jump here last night. See those flags on top of the rock pile? which is that upper deck section in dead center blowing straight out, as well as the flags in left and left center blowing out. So buckle up. There's a good pitch from Marquez, a fastball at 96 right at the knees, called a ball. I don't know how you survive in this ballpark with the strike zone that tight. Maybe you don't.
Well, Shelby Miller would tell you you don't survive the first inning with a tight strike zone in this ballpark, that's for sure.
Yes, he offered, says Rob Drake. 1-2. Daniel walked as a pinch hitter in the ball game last night. And there at second base today, Nick Ahmed has the night off to start. Breaking balls in there for a strike. Second strikeout for Marquez.
That appeared to be a good pitch that time. Just dropped it right in there on the inner third of the plate. Not sure where Daniel thought that one missed.
Alex Avila, the catcher tonight. Alex now with 4 homers. Mayhew backs way up on the outfield grass at second. They put the overshift on the right side of the field. There's a strike at 97.
Yeah, the depth that the second baseman will play in this exaggerated pull shift is directly related to the speed of the hitter. And he feels with Alex Avila at the plate, he can play a little deeper than usual and still get him at first base. We used to do this to Barry Bonds back in the day. We'd play our second baseman way out in right field because Barry either hit a home run
or walked.
Or if he put the ball in play, he didn't run. So we would put Counts or Junior Spivey or whoever happened to be at second base that night way out in right field and still had plenty of time to throw out Barry if he happened to hit the ball right at him. Unfortunately, a lot of times he hit it over everybody. There's not a shift yet that can defend against that.
Have to put a guy in the cove. Was he the best you've ever seen when he was at his peak?
Oh, I mean, you couldn't pitch to it. I've said it before. If he came up to the plate with a chance to tie the game or give the Giants a lead, we walked him. It was that simple. He was that good. During the early 2000s, just couldn't get him out.
No one in the on-deck circle for the Diamondbacks, and Jorge De La Rosa is warming up in the bullpen. After that long near 40 pitch first for Shelby Miller.
And Shelby really appeared to labor as that inning went on, and rightfully so, throwing that many pitches.
Well, you say one thing about Chad Whitson, he's calling him both ways. Nobody's getting anything on the edges of the strike zone. Still no hitter for the D-backs. There was no one at any point in the on-deck circle. De La Rosa continues to warm up. No sign of Shelby Miller or a pinch hitter. Jay, who is the leadoff man, is out there, but the pitcher spot is due up.
It's going to be Robbie Ray.
And here comes Robbie Ray. So that's it for Shelby. He will go just 1 inning tonight. And is taken out of the ball game before his turn in the order comes up.
And trailing by 4 runs early rather than burn one of your pinch hitters that you might need later in the ball game in a key situation. He goes with one of his good hitting pitchers, Robbie Ray.
Just too many pitches, TMP in that first, coming off Tommy John. I don't think it's the 5-1 lead. I think that's what it is. I think the medical staff is probably saying, let's end it right here, not take any chances. Too long a first. Usually anything over 30 is a big red flag, and he was well over that.
Yeah, for any pitcher, but especially for a guy coming back off Tommy John surgery, making his 4th start.
37 pitches in the first. Just too much. Fastball's a strike. 3 strikeouts for Marquez. D-backs trail at 5-1. '21st, pick up the Jake Lamb bobblehead, courtesy of Arizona Milk Producers. And bring the kids. Next weekend, you can get up to 2 free kids tickets with each adult ticket. Get all the information at dbacks.com/kids. Shelby Miller, a 37-pitch first inning, is done after 1. And here is Jorge De La Rosa to start the second.
Oh, and now you really need to get some length out of that bullpen. Only 1 inning out of your starter. Just going to have to patch it together. Try to get 2 or 3 out of De La Rosa. Maybe the same out of Randall Delgado.
Yeah, well, the problem there is Randall and Archie both threw 29 pitches last night. Archie threw a whole bunch on Sunday. So, I mean, ideally, I think they'd probably like to stay away from those 2 guys if they could. Well, but they are really in a bind here.
TJ McFarland's probably back in the hopper tonight. He doesn't need a lot of rest between outings.
By Jake Lamb and into left, LeMahieu, who walked and scored to lead it off, singles to start the second. Here's Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon, an all-star for the 2nd straight season, 3rd time in his career. A couple of hits last night, including an RBI double. He singled and scored his first time up tonight. Jorge De La Rosa, one of the greatest pitchers in Rockies history. One of the few guys that learned how to succeed in this ballpark. Only Aaron Cook, the great sinker ball artist, has thrown more innings at Coors Field than Jorge De La Rosa. The Rockies' career leader in wins and strikeouts. 200 starts in a Colorado uniform. Behind on Blackman, 3-1.
We saw Daniel Descalso barking a little bit after a called strike 3. Charlie Blackman looks back on that called strike that was up in the zone. I think if I were a hitter tonight, I'd keep my mouth shut. This strike zone is really working in the hitter's favor.
It's definitely not helping out the pitchers. Breaking ball kicks away. It's ball 4 anyway. And here comes Arenado.
If anybody should know about the dangers of walking batters in Coors Field, it's Jorge De La Rosa. You just can't afford to put guys on via those freebies when just about everybody in this lineup is capable of reaching the seats.
Especially this guy. Arenado had an RBI single in the first. Tied for the league lead in home runs. Oh, come on, man.
You're kidding me.
Oh. You hate to make too big a deal of it, but
it is a big deal, though. That's the thing. It just changes everything about the game when you have an inconsistent strike zone like this. That ball was all over the plate.
Hey. Fastball away, and it's 2-0. Arenado can hit anywhere. There's no denying, though. He's getting a Coors Field boost. Look at this difference home and away. 370 batting average at home. That's the best in the league. And he's, in terms of OPS, 350 points better here than on the road. So when you throw him a backdoor breaking ball for strike 1 and you don't get the call, bad things can only happen. Got that fastball up and in, 2-1.
Difference a night makes. I even went out on a limb and complimented Rob Drake for his strike zone in the ball game last night. One of the best ball strike games I've seen all summer.
You threw off the balance of the universe.
Apparently so.
And now it's fallen back on top of us. 3-1 on Arenado. LeMahieu's at second, Blackman's at first, nobody out. De La Rosa so far 11 pitches, 4 for strikes. Fastball misses up and the bases are full with nobody out. And he's walked Blackman and now Arenado. Here comes Cargo. Skied along the line in right. Goldie's over there. There's nothing in terms of foul ground in the far corners of the outfield here, but there's a decent amount of foul ground. It's a big ballpark.
And once again, because the outfielders play so deep, little pop-ups like that in other ballparks might be caught. Right fielder doesn't even come close to it.
Well, Cargo hasn't done a whole lot against lefties this year. He's about 240. A couple of home runs. 1 ball and 1 strike. On the ground to shortstop. Marte gets over there. Descalso can't turn it. LeMahieu scores, and it's 6-1. Another fielder's choice RBI for Gonzalez.
And this time just not hit hard enough to turn 2.
Trevor Story singled, stole a base, and scored a run in the first.
That's a great incentive to get down that first baseline, and you know if you beat the relay throw, you're going to get another RBI for a fielder's choice. I've said it many times, advanced scouts will tell you that's when they get their best time on runners out of the batter's box down to first base. Situations just like that, runners at first and third. You know if you beat it out, you're going to get an RBI. That's when you're probably going to get the best time out of a guy.
Boy, Alex Avila. Remember, you ever have the slip and slide when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Put it in the front yard. Avila's on one of those tonight.
Yeah, we called that mud when I was growing up.
In Coshocton. We didn't have a slip and slide. We slid in the mud. And we were grateful. Well, De La Rosa has thrown 17 pitches, 6 strikes. Good fastball down and in. 2-1. Story's been just killing the ball lately. Last dozen games, he's hitting over .420. Boy, he's spraying that split finger pitch all over the yard. 3 balls and a strike. He's already walked 2. Parra on deck. Good splitter right there. It's full. Argo takes off. Story fouls that one away.
We showed you that shot of Alex Avila sliding to his left to get that one pitch in the dirt. A couple pitches later, he did the same thing. Occasionally, when the clubhouse crew cleans your shin guards to get the mud and grime off of them after a ball game, depending on what they use to clean them, it's like Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation when he put the lubricant on the saucer and went down the hill. That's what it feels like when you get your shin guards down in the dirt. You expect to kind of stop a little bit, but depending on what they clean your shin guards with, sometimes you're sliding around back there like you're on ice.
Well, it's coming in handy tonight.
Yeah.
Cargo holds this time. Story slices one down the line and out of play.
Well, they should know better than test John Jay on the sidewall down there. That's his special play.
King of the sliding catch into the wall. Got him on the split. First strikeout for Jorge, 2 down.
Good one that time. Started down near the bottom of the strike zone, ends up down and in. Almost looked like one of those back foot sliders.
Gerardo Parra, strikeout victim his first time. Well, you know who can relate to this tonight? The Cincinnati Reds.
Ooh, I saw they were getting whooped.
They're at Cleveland tonight. It's 17-2 Indians in the 6th inning.
Francisco Lindor with his 25th homer of the season. Jason Kipnis number 9, and Jose Ramirez hit 2, giving him 27 on the season.
Keep waiting for Kipnis to come around for them. He's had a tough year.
Lindor and Ramirez both over 50 extra base hits already before the All-Star break.
Fastball is punched foul. I believe Cleveland's the only team in that division that's above 500 in the American Central.
Yeah. They were 8 games over going into play today. Their closest competition, the Minnesota Twins, were 9 games under going into play today. They've got an 8.5 game lead in that division.
Meanwhile, you've got the NL West, 4 teams all within 4.5 games of each other. Fastball misses away, 3-1. Desmond on deck. He's got the big blow, that 3-run homer in the first onto the concourse in left. I see Chris Sale is at it again. Red Sox blanking Texas 4-0 in the 8th inning. He's unbelievable.
12 strikeouts through 7 innings. He's now out of the ball game. Only gave up 6 hits. He's filthy.
Bases loaded. De La Rosa has walked 3 in the inning. He's only faced 6 batters, and Desmond, who homered us last time up, comes up with the bases full.
After a 37 pitch first inning from Shelby Miller, De La Rosa up to 29 here in the 2nd inning. This is you cannot maintain this pace. You can't carry that many pitchers on your roster.
Well, as they take another mound visit, this is Desmond in the first. Watch where this one lands. Almost hit it to Todd Helton's hamburger stand out there, as you pointed out, number 17 right there.
Yeah, we've seen some long home runs in this ballpark, humidor or no humidor, but that was a blast.
All right, Chad Whitson out to break up the mound visit. Jorge trying to get out of the second inning.
This is the kind of game I would probably already be up in the manager's office watching the rest of this one.
You would have thought you would have been wrong.
Oh.
Well, yeah, some of the strike calls are non-strike calls.
It's one thing I would have adopted from Bobby Cox. Try to establish a strike zone for your pitcher early in the game. Most of Bobby Cox's record number of ejections came in the first or second inning, trying to get a strike zone for Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and Nagel. Hey, they're going to need that pitch a little off the corner, and if they don't call it a second time, Bobby would point it out a little more forcefully.
Well, I remember that's what Torey Lovullo tried to do in St. Louis earlier this year. When Tim Timmons was the plate umpire, the whole thing with the Yadier Molina, Timmons is out there tonight at second base.
Another sliding stop by Alex Avila.
Gonna have to shine up those shin guards again.
I mean, at times with some of those wide pitches, he looks more like a goalie sliding across the crease to make a stop than a catcher trying to block a pitch in the dirt.
Swing and a miss on a high fastball, 1-2. De La Rosa has labored, to say the least, but if he can get out of this mess with only the one run, he'd certainly take it. Colorado with a 5-run first, now a long second. Another borderline pitch, 2-2. This is Badley with a fastball. Now it's full. He's already walked 3 in the inning. Walters, the catcher, would be next. Five 3-ball counts to 7 batters. Base hit. Blackman scores. Cargo right behind. They'll stop Parra at third, and it's 8-1. Five RBIs in 2 innings for Ian Desmond.
Pitch up and out over the plate, just kind of tomahawks it through that right side. You can see how far off first base Goldie was playing, and he still couldn't even get to it. A long pitch inning here for Jorge De La Rosa.
The catcher Walters walked in the first.
Desmond tomahawked a base hit to right field in the 7th inning last night as well. Very similar at bat. Pitch up and out over the plate, just stayed on it. Found that hole in the right side.
I got one for you. Walters' last start was Friday at Seattle. He was the catcher. He tripled twice in that game.
Wow.
First catcher in Rockies history ever to hit 2 triples in the same game.
That's impressive for anybody. 2 triples in a game, especially a catcher.
They asked him about it afterward. He said, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a balk.
Oh boy. Parr will come on in, 9-1.
In the rule book, it says that a hitter cannot cause a balk by stepping out of the box trying to disrupt the pitcher out there on the mound. I think that's what Torrey's going to argue.
Looks like he's got a pretty good case.
Parr requested timeout, or rather Walters requested timeout, wasn't granted by the home plate umpire Chad Whitson right there.
Oh man. Yeah, you can see right away Jorge pointing to Walters and shouting. He stepped out.
It doesn't seem right. I'm going to have to get an explanation from Torrey on that one.
Nine to 1. Desmond at second now. 1-1 on Walters. I mean, that seemed a pretty clear-cut example of the rule that is supposed to prevent that very thing. Rockies send 9 men to the plate in the first. Walters is the 8th man to bat in the second. They've got 9 runs on 6 hits. A 37 pitch first for Shelby Miller. De La Rosa now at 40 pitches in the second. Struck him out. Rockies with a 5-run first, a 4-run second. They lead it 9-1. The Rockies 9-1 as we start the third. A reminder, fans, catch baseball's biggest stars. It's an unforgettable show from Washington, D.C. The MLB All-Star Game, July 17th, only on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. German Marquez now with a 9-1 lead as John Jay starts the third. 1 hour and 11 minutes to play the first 2 innings. How are we looking? Ooh. It's not what you want. Jay struck out to lead off the ball game. I still like the name The Human Element for your new band. We've had a great example of that tonight.
Well, you know what? The players are human too, and when they react to the human element that's been inflicted upon them, they get ejected for exercising their right to be the human element. Doesn't seem fair.
But you don't have the right to do that. You're not allowed to argue balls and strikes.
Oh, okay.
That may have come up once or twice over the course of your career.
Well, you know, then to take it a step further, umpires should call balls and strikes properly.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
Full count, 3-2.
You know what would call balls and strikes properly?
A device of some sort.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild it.
I mean, in all seriousness, the umpires get a DVD after every game of them working the plate. And they're evaluated, and you know, this one may be a little too far off the corner, that one may be too much right down the middle to be called a ball. I mean, for 2 innings, I don't know if he has a passing grade. How do you evaluate something like that, and what are the penalties for consistently being very, very short percentage-wise getting calls right? No penalty as far as I've ever seen.
You don't want to make it just about Chad Whitson, but
no, not at all.
Shelby Miller threw some beautiful fastballs in that first inning. Arenado is there. Our Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool play of the game. 2 batters in. Last night it was Nick Ahmed who homered. Tonight, Paul Goldschmidt.
Maybe not so cool for Airman Marquez. That's the 4th home run he's given up to Goldie in 16 at bats.
D-backs had a 1-0 lead. They now trail it 9-1. How about this? German Marquez is the new Tim Lincecum.
Oh, how about that?
Chopper to third, Arenado. Notice even when it's hit right to him, and we mentioned this last night, he will charge first. There's no sun right now. The sun is set. It's all shadow. He really always wants, it seems, to throw on the run or moving in one direction or another.
He prefers to throw on the move, but we've seen him also throw from the seat of his pants in foul territory and get guys at first base.
Here's Jake Lamb. And the thing about that is if you come out early when they're taking infield, he practices all of those throws. He'll pick crazy spots on the infield. A spot you'd never see a guy try and make a throw from. And not only does he try them, he practices them.
Now, for example, right now with the pull shift on, he's the only defender on that left side of the infield. And earlier today, I'm sure he worked on some backhanded plays from that position and make the throw from deep in the hole at short.
The first infielder ever to begin his career with 5 straight Gold Gloves at any position. Swing and a miss. Marquez gets his 4th strikeout. 1, 2, 3, third. It's 9-1 Colorado. On Friday, a brand new episode of D-Backs Driven In debuts as we tag along with Jody Gonzo and Eric Burns. D-Backs Driven In, presented by Sanderson Ford, Friday after the D-Backs and Braves from Atlanta right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Erlon Marquez leads off the Colorado third. Jorge De La Rosa back out there. Rockies with 5 in the first against Shelby Miller and 4 in the second against Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies trying to snap a 9-game home losing streak against the D-Backs, which is the longest for Colorado against any visiting team since this ballpark opened in 1995. D-Backs have had their number, but Colorado trying to flip the script tonight. Torre Vello's ball club has won 13 of its last 16 against the Rockies, including a 6-1 mark this year. But they trail it early 9-1.
You'd like to think you get a quick, easy start to the inning here, retire the opposing pitcher, and then go to work on the top of the order. But Marquez is not making it easy. As I mentioned, he's been a hitter this year.
Well, De La Rosa, who walked 3 and balked in a run in the second inning, has run it full on the pitcher to start the third. LeMahieu's already scored twice in 2 innings. He'll be next. Ninth pitch coming up. Jake Lamb at third. LeMahieu has walked, singled, and scored twice. You know, they don't know if he's going to be back next year. He's, let's see, 2 days shy of his 30th birthday. And he's playing this year on a 1-year, $8.5 million deal. He can become a free agent at the end of the season. They're trying to sock some money away to keep Arenado here long term. They've got some young infielders in their system they like. So this might be LeMahieu's last year here in a Rocky uniform. We'll see.
Well, if indeed it is, somebody's going to get themselves a real good second baseman that knows the game inside and out, can give you a great at bat. I think DJ LeMahieu's a very underrated player in the National League.
Absolutely. Just by a diving Jake Lamb down the line and in the corner. LeMahieu, the leadoff man, aboard for the 3rd time in 3 at-bats. A walk, a single, and now a 1-out double.
You know, it hasn't even come up the LeMahieu shift this year. And I think part of the reason is what we just saw. He's been pulling the ball a little bit more, looking for pitches middle of the plate in, and when they do come in there, he's willing to drive it to left field. In the past, he would try to inside out everything to right field. And Dave McKay came up with the idea of playing a shift to the opposite field, which is unheard of. But I think it really got in LeMahieu's head last year at the end of the season when the Diamondbacks were doing that.
Notice the way LeMahieu's got that thumb all wrapped up. He missed several weeks with a left thumb sprain. Got a lot of protection in there. Blackman punches one the other way, headed toward the corner and out of play. It was interesting. They decided to keep Blackman around. They have some decisions to make on these guys who've been here for a while. They don't know about LeMahieu. They paid Blackman, who just turned 32 earlier this month. They got a 6-year, $108 million deal. That was back in April. So he'll be here for the duration. But they've had a nice run here with pretty much the same group of players. And eventually when you have that situation, you got to make decisions on certain guys. Blackman was headed for free agency after this year, but they cut that off at the pass. Arenado was close. He's got one more year of arbitration, then he becomes a free agent. 0-2 on Blackman. Fastball up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Torey Lovello down there with Jerry Narin and Mike Butcher trying to map out a pitching plan. Foul ball got Alex back there.
Up underneath, catch on the back of the thigh. Those are bruises you can't even see.
Fly ball deep center field. Pollock backing up, and there it goes. Charlie Blackman, that's number 18. And it's 11-1.
LeMahieu and Blackman at the top of this Rockies order. A combined 4 for 4 with 2 walks and 6 runs scored already. We're in the 3rd inning.
Nolan Arenado. He's got an RBI single and a base on balls. Boy, that one got out of here in a hurry. We have a message from Patrick Kurish of the Diamondbacks PR staff. Shelby Miller removed from the ball game after 1 inning, 37 pitches. Right elbow tightness for Shelby.
I mentioned he just looked a little different at the end of that inning, which is certainly understandable when you throw 37 pitches to get 3 outs. But he looked like he was taking a little more time between pitches, kind of shaking that right arm out a little bit. Hopefully nothing serious.
So Shelby Miller leaves with right elbow tightness. De La Rosa working his 2nd inning of relief. 1-1 on Arenado. Nice high hop. Belt high, backs up Lamb. 2 outs. Here's Cargo. Gonzalez has a pair of RBI fielder's choice. TJ McFarland has started warming up.
Seems like I say it almost every game we play here at Coors Field, but a ball game like tonight will at times force you to make roster moves.
Yeah.
You get deep into that bullpen early in a ball game. Guys have to be extended, throw a lot more pitches than you want them to, and occasionally you've got to reach down to the minor leagues and get some reinforcements.
Fly ball, deep left field. Peralta at the wall, and that one is gone. Number 9 for Cargo. Make it 12-1 Colorado.
Three at bats in 3 innings for Cargo. 3 runs driven in, 2 on fielder's choices. And this one on a solo home run to left field just does sneak over the fence out there. I guess it got a little farther over than I thought.
Jerry Narron, the bench coach, on the phone. Trevor Story, the shortstop. He has singled and struck out. Here comes Torey Lovello.
Wants to reach the magic number here. Well, maybe not. I thought perhaps they had a pre-designated number of pitches that they were willing to extend Jorge De La Rosa tonight. He's up to 65, and
That's a lot.
that's a lot of pitches.
Yeah. I mean, he's given them a little bit of length, but this is a whole nother deal, and that's going to be it for Jorge. We'll take a break from Denver, Colorado, where the Rockies have taken a 12-1 lead. Lead. Jorge De La Rosa came on after 1 inning for Shelby Miller. Is out of the ball game in the 3rd, and here's the left-hander TJ McFarland. Again, right elbow tightness for Shelby, who threw 37 pitches in the 1st inning when Colorado scored 5. They have since added 7 more. Now here's TJ to face Trevor Story. He inherits a 1-0 count. StatCast powered by AWS. Story pretty much a pull hitter. And of course he hits it the other way into right center field. That one rolls all the way to the wall. And Story has a double.
It's a risky run with the exaggerated pull shifts, but as we've said a million times already this year, you play your defenders where the guy is most likely to hit the ball. Trevor Story most likely is going to pull the ball on the ground to the left side of the infield. That time got a pitch out over the plate and drove it to right field. That's going to happen from time to time.
Gerardo Parra has struck out, walked, and scored a run.
The D-backs haven't been on the wrong side of one of these in a long time.
Just one of 20-5 games Saturday night.
Avila was some concern after that last delivery from T.J. McFarland. Kind of fell off the mound to the third base side a little bit. Alex tossed the ball back to him and then walked a couple steps out toward the mound, but T.J. kind of waved him off, gets right back up on the rubber.
2-0 on Parra. On the ground to second, Descalso is there. The Rockies with 5 in the first, 4 in the second, 3 in the third. D-backs trailing 12-1.
Military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Sun setting in Colorado. The D-backs had a 1-0 lead here. They now trail it 12-1 as A.J. Pollock leads off the fourth against German Marquez. A.J. singled his first time up, one of 2 D-backs hits. They've been out hit 10-2. They trail it 12-1. Marquez has retired 4 in a row. 60 pitches, 39 strikes. He's walked 1. He struck out 4. Make it 5.
Breaking ball. And that time from Marquez. It looked like early on in the ball game, Marquez was really trying to overthrow that curveball. I mentioned a couple of them were in the mid-80s, really trying to hump up and get an extra velocity on that breaking ball instead of throttling back a little bit and getting more break on the pitch.
Peralta grounded out to end the first. There's a strike. Marquez, a winner in his previous start. That was last Friday at Safeco Field, Seattle. He held the red-hot Mariners to 1 run in 6 innings. And prior to that, he beat the Dodgers in LA, just 2 hits in 8 innings. And in both those starts, he did not walk a batter. He has continued to progress, just 23 years old. Bounce to first. Short hop for Desmond. Well, it's nice when you got a guy playing first base who was a long time shortstop in the National League. He kind of played that one like a shortstop.
Yeah, you kind of forget that Ian Desmond was a shortstop for a long time. Been playing a little outfield, little first base.
Yoshi Hirano starts to get loose in the bullpen. In the meantime, Marquez has retired 6 in a row. Here's Ketel Marte.
It's amazing what an 11-run lead will do for a pitcher out there on the mound.
A little bit of a confidence boost. Dodgers just underway in San Diego. That is Maeda and Lucchesi. Padres won there last night. D-backs a game and a half up on LA, top the NL West. Giant needed extras, but they beat the Cubs 5-4 in San Francisco earlier today. 3-1 on Ketel Marte. Descalso on deck. By the way, it's now 19-2 in Cleveland. The Reds are having a tough day. So are the D-backs. That's 7 straight retired by Marquez, who leads at 12-1.
Noticed that he was chatting with Nolan Arenado over at third base yesterday. He said I usually don't like to divulge what we talk about because he said, I talked to all the guys over there, and he talked to Blackman yesterday in Story, but he said, well, I was asking him about Seattle, which of course is Jake Lamb's hometown, and the Rockies were just there, seeing if Seattle treated him well, talking about restaurants over there, and he said, I always enjoy talking to all those guys, but of course, Nolan being one of the best in the game, playing his position, it's always good to talk with him.
I thought they were talking about strategy. How do you defend the bunt? No, it's restaurants.
Yeah, where are you going to eat while you're there? Yeah. You'd be surprised some of the conversations that take place on the baseball field that everybody assumes, oh, they're talking strategy and pitch sequencing, and not always.
Well, you thought maybe T.J. McFarland would be able to give Torey Lovullo some length, but T.J. gave up a double and a ground ball to win the third, and now here's Yoshi to start the fourth. Ian Desmond, who's already knocked in 5 runs, leads it off.
I hope nothing's wrong with TJ. I mentioned Alex Avila showed some concern on that one delivery, kind of came out from behind home plate, but TJ waved him off and was able to get out of that third inning. But because of the short outing, you wonder if there's not something possibly wrong with TJ.
Boy, that would be a big blow to that bullpen. He has been tremendous. Again, right elbow tightness for Shelby Miller. He left after 1 inning, 37 pitches. Colorado got 5 in the first against him. Speaking of discussions, I ran into our buddy Steve Gilbert walking around the streets of lower downtown Denver today.
Yeah.
There's Zach Buchanan. There's Nick Picoro. The empty computer is Steve Gilbert, who's apparently got better things to do. Oh, there he is, just sort of lounging around. Desmond hits one toward the right field corner, and John Jay runs it down. So I see Steve on the street. We stop and chat. And he says, you won't believe what happened to me in the hotel. I said, well, what happened? They're staying at a hotel about a block away from where we are. And he says, I got an upgrade. I said, oh, that's nice. He's like, no. He got the corner hotel room on the very top floor of this hotel. So, and it's right on the corner. So you got one whole wall with a veranda, and then another whole wall with a whole separate thing. And there's all kinds of patio furniture. He's like Charlie Sheen when he gets the new apartment in Wall Street. He's up there with 2 different patios, 2 different seats. Like this thing's got 2 sets of patio furniture.
Wow. That is an upgrade.
So he's and he shows me all the pictures he's taken from the phone. He takes a picture of the room, he takes a picture of the furniture, he takes a picture of the view. So he's living like a king here. Now I don't know what happened to Zach and Nick. Those guys didn't get the upgrade. Here's Steve Gilbert. Probably, I'm surprised not showing him pictures of the hotel room right now.
Might be. That's Jeff Houston that does some broadcasting for the Rockies from time to time.
Yeah, he's like, Jeff, you got to see this room. It is unbelievable. He's got the Gordon Gekko suite up there.
Well, apparently there's nothing on the field to catch Stevie's interest right now.
I told him we were going to bury him tonight. So he's probably been hiding. Walters drives one deep to center. It's over the head of AJ and off the wall. The catcher, who had 2 triples in 1 game in Seattle over the weekend, has another one here at Colorado. He tripled twice Friday against the Mariners at Safeco Field. Now he's got his 3rd of the year.
Ball hit a long way out there to the deepest part of the ballpark, which is right there in front of the little peak hole in the Diamondbacks bullpen. AJ chased it as far as he could before giving up, playing it on a hop. Walter's going to need a DL stint after all these triples. Catch his breath for 10 days.
The pitcher Marquez. Base hit. Make it 13-1 Colorado. LeMahieu has walked, singled, doubled, and scored 3 times. We talked about how possibly the Diamondbacks were getting into the heads of the Rockies. D-backs had won 13 of their last 16 against Colorado, 6-1 versus the Rockies this year. 9 straight wins in this ballpark. But I'm going to guess that a type of win like this might change that mindset.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, it's just raining line drives all over this ballpark here tonight. Already 12 hits in the game here in the 4th inning for the Rockies. A lot of the outs have been struck very hard, and the Diamondbacks are running real short on pitchers, and we're only in the 4th.
They're already on their 4th pitcher. And 2 of them left after very short outings. At least one we know of has had elbow problems. That's Shelby Miller. Right elbow tightness.
Well, unlike the other day at Chase Field, Daniel Descalso is available to pitch if necessary tonight since he's in the lineup at second base. The other night he had been used as a pinch hitter and was out of the ball game. Jeff Mathis was forced to take the mound.
And Torrey told us he had all kinds of volunteers. Nick Ahmed wanted to pitch. David Peralta wanted to pitch. They went with Mathis. They didn't want to have Nick or David go out there trying to throw 90 and injure a shoulder, which is smart. I'm sure that would be the temptation for those guys who were both very good pitchers in their younger days. This is lifted deep left center field. Peralta won't get there, and one hops the wall. LeMahieu, his 3rd hit tonight, his 2nd double. Here's Blackman, who homered his last time up.
Just to point it out, not that it's right or wrong, but there's no way back in the day, and you can pick your day, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, even the early part of the 90s, there's no way a team would have put 13 runs and 13 hits on the board in 4 innings without somebody getting flipped. There's a lot of very aggressive hacks from these Rockies in the ball game tonight, perhaps some of it because of the narrow strike zone. But very, very aggressive swings, and unfortunately it's too late now to do something about it. Now it would seem chippy.
Yeah, sort of, you know, at this point, what is the point? What would be the point? Of course, the Rockies in that sense are one up on the Diamondbacks after Goldie was hit last time we were here. You remember the time he got hit and then was barking back at the catcher Walters after he was drilled on a first pitch fastball.
I think that's one area of the game that nobody really wants to look at because it is unsavory, thinking about throwing inside hard to hitters and not really caring if you hit them or not. It's just completely out of the game now. You throw inside off the plate and the hitter's going to stare out at the pitcher and the umpire's going to issue warnings.
Well, you sound like you miss it.
I do, because this is what the result is. Hitters that have no fear of being pitched inside, no fear of being hit by a baseball. And I know there are those that will argue, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, you're not supposed to be up there worrying about getting drilled, but you think back to the history of the game, and it was always a part of the game. If the other team's taking big swings against you, hitting the ball hard, make them uncomfortable. Don't let them lean out over the plate and take that outside corner away from you. Don't let them back leg pitches and try to hit them into the upper deck. But once again, it's too late now.
Well, we've seen teams pitch inside. They've pitched inside to Goldie all year long. But there's a big difference between that and what you're talking about.
Well, and also Goldie's not the kind after an inside pitch to stare out at the mound. Right. You know, he'll just get back in the box and wait for the next pitch.
Another base hit. Blackman knocks it into right. Marquez scores. They stop LeMahieu, make it 14-1 Colorado. We're the top of the order. Blackman now with 2 singles, a walk, a homer, and 3 RBIs. Yoshi having a tough night. That's 4 consecutive hits.
I think we're going to see Descalso on the mound. He's taking off his wristbands.
Yep. Chris Owings is coming out, presumably to take over at second base. Descalso will take over on the mound. We'll take a break. But rarely do you ever see that in the 4th inning of a ball game.
It's funny because every day we walk in the back of the press box here at Coors Field, and they've got trophy cases out there with memorabilia from Rockies history, and one of them is Brett Maine getting a victory. He used to be the backup catcher here for the Rockies. He came in a similar game, had to eat up some innings, and his team came back and scored enough runs that he picked up a victory.
Chris Owings takes over for Descalso at second. Here's Arenado. Colorado with 5 in the first, 4 in the second, 3 in the third, 2 are in the fourth. And there's only 1 out, runners in the corners.
Well, unless something has changed drastically since Daniel's last appearance, we know he's just going to throw straight fastballs, try to hit corners, try to elevate when it's appropriate, but most of the time just keep the ball down, throw strikes, and hope the Rockies put it in play right at a defender.
Daniel is very proud of his 0 ERA.
Oh, a breaking ball. Nice.
The full repertoire.
A little grin on his face there. Had to try it. 68-mile-an-hour slider that bounced out there near the outside corner, trying to get a chase from Nolan Arenado.
Descalso, this is his 5th career appearance as a pitcher in the big leagues. He's worked 3 scoreless innings. In fact, he's worked 3 hitless innings, but that streak just comes to an end, and it's 15-1. Here's Cargo, who homered his last time up.
This one scares me a little bit. Cargo has the ability to extend his swing on off-speed pitches, and that's basically all Daniel Descalso throws.
But Cargo, being Cargo, might try and hit it to Colorado Springs and swing and miss.
That too.
2 on, 1 out, 3 runs already in. Fly ball center. Pollock backing up at the track, at the wall, and that one is gone. It's 18-1. Six consecutive hits for Colorado, 3 of them for extra bases.
Stayed right on that fastball. We'll call it a fastball. Outside part of the plate. Takes it straight away center field.
Argo with 5 RBIs tonight. Pardon me, make it 6.
6, yeah.
Here's Story, who has singled and doubled. Foul ground for Goldie. 2 outs.
Wow. The number 1, number 2, and number 4 hitter in the Rockies lineup have all scored 4 runs in 4 innings.
9th man to bat in the 4th is Gerardo Parra, who does not have a base hit, 0 for 2 with a walk. 18 runs on 16 hits through 3 2/3. How about that? In Cleveland, the Reds are on the wrong end of a 19-4 score. Good news is Dodgers are losing again. Padres have a 1-0 lead early. Giants beat the Cubs today. Well, you know, Torrey and Jerry Naron and Mike Butcher are down there trying to figure out how do we navigate the pitching for the rest of this ball game and not just blow out everybody. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, these are special circumstances here today, so it would take some very out-of-the-box thinking on the part of the D-backs coaching staff to figure out how you get through this ball game without putting an undue tax on that bullpen.
Especially in what is clearly a lost cause. Well, Descalso gets a strikeout. The Rockies get 6. They lead at 18-1.
nearly enough as we head to the top half of the fifth inning. Time to take a look at our legacy moment, brought to you by Geico. Back in 1961, when they used to have 2 All-Star games, the very first one was played at Candlestick Park. National League won that one 5-4. And there's a little more to the story.
There always is. Here's the pitcher, Daniel Descalso.
7 errors in an All-Star game. Tony Kubek, Jim Gentile for the American League, Orlando Cepeda, Smokey Burgess, Don Zimmer, and Ken Boyer with 2 errors. Elston Howard had a pass ball. And that was the game that Stu Miller, a 165-pound left-hander for the Giants, was blown off the mound and a balk was called.
Well, it's got to start somewhere. There's the bloop single by Descalso. Ends a stretch of 7 straight, retired by Herman Marquez.
And that was one of those days at Candlestick.
I have a feeling the ballpark was mostly to blame. Alex Avila. I thought you were going to give us the other obvious to this day in history, of which you're so proud. You played a big role in that one.
We're talking about the $1 million Grand Slam.
Eileen Hoyle of Chandler.
Yeah.
High chopper. Desmond's got it at first. Jay Bell, 6th inning, 1999 against the A's.
There she is, my fiance.
So she wins $1 million if Bell hits a grand slam, and there it goes.
You had to pick the player and the inning, and he had to hit a grand slam in that inning, and that's as excited as I've ever seen Jay Bell.
Part of the Shamrock Farms Grand Slam Sunday. And I believe you then introduced her as your future wife.
Yeah, my fiance, Eileen Hoyle. Yeah.
She'd just come into some money, and that seemed like a prudent thing to do. Here's Chris Owings. Came on to play second when Descalso moved to the mound.
Yeah, that was a great moment in D-backs history. Still a young franchise at that point. You know, it wasn't a lot to hang your hat on, but Jay Bell hit $1 million home run.
I don't see a lot of those. Well, it's now a final in Cleveland. The Indians beat the Reds 19-4. Owings waves at a breaking ball. Marquez gets his 6th strikeout.
Yeah, there was another this day in baseball history that kind of made me chuckle a little bit. At Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta in 1976, 34 couples got married at home plate, and they had a wrestling championship. After the ball game, they called that night at the ballpark Headlocks and Wedlocks.
How romantic.
Oh, just lovely.
Honey, we're going to get married, and then we're going to see the Junkyard Dog take on Bret the Hitman Hart. Nobody was better than the JYD. John Jay 0 for 2.
You knew him that well.
Used to love the JYD back in the day. Broken bat roller up the first base line. Desmond's there. Bottom 5 on the way. D-backs trail the Rockies 18-1. You can customize your experience. Catch every moment this year. Get D-backs home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day. You can get pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, the whole thing. Download MLB at Bat today. Ian Desmond, who's got 5 RBIs already, will lead off the 5th. John Ryan Murphy behind the plate now. Alex Avila takes over at first for Goldie. Fly ball deep to right field. John Jay just shy of the warning track out there. 1 pitch, 1 out for Daniel. By the way, TJ McFarland, we're told, had to leave the game tonight with neck tightness. So right elbow tightness for Shelby, neck tightness for TJ McFarland. Here's Tony Walters, the catcher, who tripled his last time up. Fifth career pitching appearance and the second this year for Daniel Descalso. Daniel, before the Arenado base hit, had retired 9 consecutive batters to start his pitching career. The longest such streak by a position player in baseball's live ball era. How about that?
Yeah. But then again, you think about it, and now they've had a chance to compile some video scouting on Daniel Descalso. The advanced scouts have seen him.
I'm not sure they're running to the iPads. What's he got? Jake Lamb in the hole. Well, the home run that Daniel gave up to Cargo snapped a 4-game scoreless streak for Daniel, which had been the longest by a position player since Doug DeCenzo in 1990 and 91. Here's Marquez, the pitcher. He had an RBI single and scored his last time.
I saw those performances by Doug DeCenzo for the Cubs back in 90 and 91. He was a lot like Daniel.
Marquez takes Descalso out of here. A home run for the pitcher. And it's 19-1. Well, the baseball gods are funny. We were laughing and joking around Saturday when we beat the Padres 20-5, and now the tables are turned.
The table's been flipped. The macaroni and cheese is on the floor.
Watch Daniel Descalso react to this Marquez homer.
He's seen pitchers do that before. Usually pitchers don't even turn around to look. They don't want to see where it lands.
Second home run that Daniel has given up tonight. LeMahieu has been a real problem. Kept him to pop up. Carries out to center for Pollock. Marquez's homer. Rockies add one more.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
We've reached the 6th inning. D-backs trailing a 19-1. Some changes defensively for Colorado as John Ryan Murphy leads it off. Raimel Tapia replaces Charlie Blackman in center, and Pat Valleca takes over at third for Nolan Arenado. Marquez throwing strikes. He's only given up 1 run on 3 hits through 5 innings. He's pitched very well. He's walked 1, struck out 6. He's retired 10 of the last 11 Diamondbacks he's faced. Elevates a fastball and gets his 7th strikeout. Here's Jake Lamb 0 for 2. Jake 0 for 4 last night, couple of strikeouts. He's hitless in his last 3 games. Batting .227 on the year. Rockies have the shift on. There's a strike 0-1. 17 hits for Colorado, 3 for the D-backs. Tell you what, Chad Whitson, even when it's 19-1, is not going to give you that call. Doesn't matter if it's a strike.
It's been described different ways in the past. When an umpire has a small strike zone, it's as big as a postage stamp. It's as big as a teacup. Not quite that small, but he has not been willing to call pitches even in the strike zone if they're around the edges.
Which is where the pitchers are trying to throw them. Kind of complicates matters a little bit. There's a little tapper. Valleca will have to charge. Tough play. And Jake beats it out.
Jake's had a few of those accidental opposite field base hits recently. Little cue shots off the end of the bat or little hoppers to the third base side where that sole defender on the left side just can't make the play.
1 out base runner now for AJ, who has singled and struck out. D-backs led this game at one point, 1-0. Goldie homered 2 batters in, his 21st of the year. I did notice it. I just happened to look over there on your side, and I noticed a fairly significant development. You have a new 4-color pen.
Yeah, not for long.
It's clearly brought us some bad luck.
Ooh.
After you lost your other.
Bad pen. Bad pen.
Did you go to the 4-color pen store? 4-color pens are us.
Just went to the drugstore, and it took a while. I had to look through all the stationery and all the other pens and pencils, and they had them kind of hidden in there, but I found it. I think now I know why it was hidden.
Yeah, it's got some bad mojo.
Bad pen.
Well, I will say the Rocky side of your scorecard is very colorful. I hope you bought only the 1.
Yeah.
Because when we throw it out after this game, it won't be that big a deal.
I might might still have the receipt in my room. I could maybe take it back and say it malfunctioned.
Yeah, I need to return this.
It didn't work right. There's something wrong with this pen.
Marquez now at 90 pitches, 61 strikes. Stupid pen.
Well, that's the way things, you know, when things aren't going well, inanimate objects tend to get blamed. You know?
Yeah.
I've seen guys kick chairs or ladders, flip the spread table, throw their pen out of the booth.
Saw what Carlos Gomez did to that water cooler last week.
You know what was funny about that to me was not the fact that he beat up on a cooler, the fact that that used to happen almost every day.
With him or just in general?
With just in general. Yeah, we used to call it snapping. You know, so-and-so really snapped. Did you see him over there in their dugout after he struck out? He snapped. It used to happen with regularity, but of course every game wasn't on television, so a lot of times you could get away with it and nobody knew about it.
Well, we have ballparks that we play at all the time that have a spare car tire down there.
Yeah.
As Pollock strikes out, that's 8 for Marquez. So guys can go down there and just start wailing away on that thing and not break something.
Hey, there have been ballparks where they put a heavy bag in the tunnel, so guys, rather than break their fist hitting a wall or punching a dugout bench, they go down there and beat up on the heavy bag a little bit, get the anger out of your system, and go back to work.
You know, used to hang a tire in the front yard when you were a kid. They got a few here and there. Lamb moves up and takes second.
Really? I wouldn't do anything to break up Marquez's rhythm at this point.
You got to change the signs now. You got a guy at second.
I did this to Rick Russell one time. Ran out to the mound for no apparent reason, but Big Daddy never even stepped off the rubber. He was standing there waiting to take the sign. I called timeout, ran out from behind home plate, and he never moved the entire time. Just stood there in his set position waiting for me to get back behind the plate.
Up the middle and into center. This will get a run home. Lamb comes around. RBI single for Peralta. 19-2. So what did he do?
Just not to me, but to some of his catchers, he used to say, hey, did the skipper send you out here? And if you said no, well, then get your butt back behind home plate. Yes, sir, Mr. Russell.
Del Marte.
Right away.
So nothing, huh?
No, nothing.
Good thing they weren't counting mound visits back in the day.
Big Daddy was a beauty, though. He would shake off throws to first base. He was one flat or less to home plate. He was one of the quickest pitchers I ever caught. And, you know, he used to shake off throwovers. And I'd go out to the mound. Hey, this is coming from the skipper. He says, hey, I'm one flat to the plate. You're two flat to second base. There's no way they're going to steal. I'm not throwing over there. Yes,
well,
sir, Mr.
Yeah,
Russell.
what do you got left? Okay.
Yeah, he was right. You just couldn't run on Big Daddy, so why waste a throw to first base?
2-0 on Marte. Torrey tells a great story about I don't want to throw the guy under the bus, a pitcher who had a reputation of being, you know, a tough guy. Torrey was playing third. Manager said, hey, go over there and talk to him. So Torrey looked back in the dugout, shook his head. No, I don't want to.
No.
No, go out there and talk to him. So eventually he started to walk into the mound, and the pitcher said, Torrey, you take one more step toward this mound and I will lay you out right here. Yes, sir. He walked back to third. Some guys just didn't want to be bothered.
No, that's my mound. This is my game. Leave me alone.
Well, an RBI single and now a walk. Yency Almonte, we saw a moment ago, warming up in the Rocky bullpen. Marquez now with 100 pitches. Trying to get through 6. Here comes Steve Foster, the pitching coach, as the pitcher Descalso steps up.
It just rolls right off your tongue, doesn't it?
Though? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, in effect, the Diamondbacks have a designated hitter right now. because, you know, normally it would be the pitcher spot. But
we found a way to circumvent the rules. I see.
See?
That's next level thinking.
We got 9 hitters in the lineup right now. Of course, we've used a pitcher as a pinch hitter, so I guess it all evens out.
That's true. Robbie Ray hit for Shelby after Shelby had to leave with right elbow tightness. Well, the run is in. 2 on and 2 out for Descalso, who singled his last time up. Second base for LeMahieu. Bottom 6 in Colorado. It's all Rockies.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACS50 at papajohns.com. Now, it may seem kind of odd to read that promo right now, but the fact remains the Diamondbacks won last night, so if you dial up or go online and order a pizza from Papa John's right now, you can get it for half price. We call it the consolation pizza.
I got one for you. Jeff Mathis is now playing second base.
There you go.
Placing Chris Owings. Raimel Tapia, who took over in center field for Charlie Blackmon, leads off the 6th against Daniel Descalso. Owings is in center, replacing A.J. Pollock. Tapia just 1 for 8 with the Rockies this year. He spent almost the entire season at AAA, where he's hitting over 300 with 10 homers for Albuquerque. Yanks that one down the line, and that's a foul ball. I got one for you. We made history tonight.
Yeah.
Not in a great way, but remember we told you about that Cleveland game where the Reds lost 19-4 to the Indians. According to Elias, before tonight, there had never been a day in baseball history that saw multiple teams with at least a 17-run lead through 4 innings. Ever. But it happened tonight in Denver and in Cleveland. Tapia hits a fly ball deep right field. Jay will play it off the wall. Raimel Tapia pulls into second with a double.
The way the offense is in Major League Baseball nowadays, it wouldn't surprise me if it happens several more times before the year's over. A 55-mile-an-hour eephus curveball. Tapia bangs it out there in the gap in right center for a double.
Here's Vallejo, who took over at third for Arenado.
Daniel mixing up his pitches a little more tonight. There's a slider at 65.
Behind second, Mathis, the second baseman, is out there. Let's go down to Jody.
Well, guys, I saw Jeff Mathis stretching. I wasn't sure if he was going to be in to pitch at some point, but this is his first time playing in the infield or the outfield for that matter. 770 games as a catcher, 15 as a DH, and 3 as a pitcher. His first at second base here today. Of course, not what you want to see in this situation, but his versatility, you know, helping Torey Lovello out right now.
Well, it lets you put CO in center and gives AJ a break. Always a consideration at this altitude, the elevation. Here's Cargo, who's homered twice and knocked in 6 runs. And also, it's good practice. You never know. You come up to some kind of emergency scenario as he fouls out, and you might need somebody out there.
Well, you might need more pitching help tonight, and in that respect, you've got to keep Jeff Mathis available, either off the bench or in the game as a position player. So might as well bring him in.
And now hitting for Trevor Story will be one of the catchers, Tom Murphy, who was just activated from the paternity list on Tuesday. He's played only 15 games this year, but hit .313. Descalso got 2 outs in the 4th. Worked the 5th and now trying to get through the 6th. Toppy is at second with 2 outs. D-backs have the shift on. 3 infielders on the third base side against Murphy.
.65-mile-an-hour curveball. I've been getting a kick out of the board out there in right center field on the facing of the upper deck. 4-seam fastball 73. Slider 61. Curveball 55. They have to recalibrate their whole radar gun here at the ballpark. Looked like a little bit of a natural cutter that time, working away from the right-handed hitter.
82, he's bringing the heat. Full count, 3-2 with Parra on deck. Parra does not have a hit tonight. 0 for 3. He's walked and scored. Descalso struck him out to end the 4th. Boy, that's tough. Your team's got 19 runs, 18 hits. You do not have a hit, and you were struck out by a position player. It's not what you want.
That's a good teammate. Somebody's got to make the outs. Seeing that swing by Gerardo Parra kind of reminds me of back in the day when we used to face the Rockies and Todd Helton. And we'd go over Helton in the advance meeting, and we'd suggest it every time, but we couldn't get any of the pitchers to do it. If you threw Todd Helton an 80-mile-an-hour fastball 6 inches off the plate inside, he would pull it foul into the bleachers in right field. Then you could go to work. You're ahead 0-1.
Left center. Owings and Peralta collide. CO hangs on. Hopefully everybody's okay. For the first time tonight, the Rockies do not score. In the 7th inning, NC Almonte on for the Rockies. Fans, secure your seats now for the big games in September. Don't miss these. D-backs and Cubs, September 17th through the 19th. The Rockies are in September 21st through the 23rd. And then the Dodgers. Get your tickets now. A big September coming up at dbacks.com. A whole bunch of changes for Colorado as we start the 7th inning. Tom Murphy, who was used as a pinch hitter for Trevor Story, takes over behind the plate for Tony Walters. Walters will go over to third, replacing Pat Valleca. Valleca slides over to shortstop, replacing Story. Noel Cuevas takes over in right for Carlos Gonzalez. So Walters at third, Valleca at short, LeMahieu still in there at second, Desmond still at first. Parra, Tapia, Cuevas in the outfield left to right. And Murphy behind the plate.
And of course, with guys playing out of position, Tony Walters, I kept trying to get his attention and wave him over to the right side of the field to play a pull shift. And Walters was positioned over at third base. And wait a minute, you just put me in as a third baseman.
Here's Avila, who took over at first for Goldie. The numbers on Almonte. Cuevas is there in right for allowed out number one.
We've seen Alex hit a number of balls just like that this year to right and right center field with so much topspin that they stay in the ballpark. Sounded like good contact, was good contact, but unfortunately that ball had a lot of topspin. Just got out there shy of the warning track and died.
Chris Owings. Another one out to Cuevas. They always find the new guy. John Jay now. Jay 0 for 3. D-backs 2 runs on 5 hits. Rockies 19 runs on 18 hits. Second base for LeMahieu. NCL Monte, a 1-2-3 inning. We stretch in Denver. D-backs trail at 19-2. Tonight. It wasn't too long before he moved over to first base to replace Goldie. And now he is on the mound replacing Daniel Descalso, who takes over at first base for Alex Avila. Jeff Mathis has been playing second base. It's been that kind of night. So here's Avila to face Ian Desmond. Avila was one of the volunteers. There was a line of them Saturday against San Diego. He's out there laughing, having a good time. Who wanted to pitch when the Diamondbacks were blowing out the Padres. And Desmond dunks one into left field. His third hit tonight. So Avila gets his chance.
You know me, partner. Normally I would say any game you can get all 3 catchers into the ball game at the same time is a good one, but not tonight.
Well, you've got a catcher playing second and a catcher pitching right now. Here's Walters. He was the catcher, now he's at third. Left field, Peralta. There's Cuevas, who took over in right for Carlos Gonzalez.
Coors Field and a spring training game broke out.
Not sure what Avila's got. We don't have a scouting report on him. His first ever pitching appearance. He was a pitcher in high school.
Well, that was called a slider. I'm not quite so sure. It would have been one of those gravity sinkers.
I think they've stopped doing that on the scoreboard.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, it's foul at first. Oh, putting him up there. That's a slider. John Jay in right field. Well, it seemed inevitable. Let's break that down.
Well, try to get him to hit the ball to the opposite field. He's working down and away. Another cutter away that time. Tried to slash one down that first baseline. Got one up 75 miles an hour. A little lazy fly ball to right field. Just get him to hit it the other way. Our nationwide vision eye on Alex Avila's game.
Here is the leadoff man, DJ LeMahieu. He punches one out to Jay in right. Alex Avila puts up a 0. We head to the 8th. And he throws a scoreless inning.
How about that? Get some Cy Young votes for that.
A lot of smiles in that dugout. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Zach Godley was originally supposed to start the game tomorrow here. Kyle Friedland will pitch for the Rockies, the left-hander, but Robbie Ray will pitch on normal rest after Godley had to pitch over the weekend. So Robbie Ray and Kyle Friedland tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 11:30 a.m. First pitch 12:10 Arizona time. Godley had to work that one inning in the marathon game Sunday, 5 hours 31 minutes, so they'll push him back to Friday in Atlanta just to be safe. And with the off day on Monday, Robbie gets his normal turn in the rotation. John Ryan Murphy leads off the 8th against Yency Almonte. Valleca, the shortstop. You know, you might expect to see, or maybe back in the day, the D-backs dugout, we'd have all these shots of guys smashing water coolers and breaking bats and everything, but these guys are taking things in stride. Every time Descalso came back or Avila came back, there was laughing and joking in there. And why get upset? What can you do?
I mean, unfortunately, these kind of games happen to every team a couple times over the course of the season. And you're right. What can you do? You try to put together good at bats, get yourself back in the game if at all possible. But the reality is this one's a foregone conclusion. And anytime you can take a few yucks out of a ball game like this and come back tomorrow with a clean slate, then I say it's been worthwhile. I remember Gracie's pitching appearance against the Dodgers back in '01. He gave up a long home run to David Ross, was doing his Mike Fetters impersonation out there on the mound, and when that game was over, the Dodgers went home ticked off and we went home laughing.
Descalso gave up a pair of home runs, one to Gonzalez and one to the pitcher Marquez, and came back and was showing guys his grip, and they were all laughing and joking. I think you're right. If you're in there breaking things in the dugout and yelling at guys and smashing things, you just kind of compound the problem. But as they always say, it's baseball. There's another game tomorrow.
Another one tomorrow.
And it starts at noon in Arizona, 1:10 local time. Bounced up the middle, a base hit for Lamb. His second hit tonight.
Isn't Alex Avila supposed to be sitting on the bench with a jacket on?
Yes, he should do that just as a joke. That's funny.
Get a base hit and ask for him to bring your jacket out to first base.
Here's the second baseman, Jeff Mathis. So in a span of what's today, Wednesday? Yeah, a few days we've seen Mathis pitch, Descalso pitch, and Avila pitch. Valleca at shortstop. And they turn the double play. Bottom 8 in Colorado, 19-2 Rockies.
Pitch.
Yeah. 19-2. Don't miss a big NL West matchup next weekend. Chase Field, D-backs and Rockies. Kids 15 and younger get free tickets with a purchase of an adult ticket. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com/kids. Free tickets for the kids.
Nice.
Our first series in the second half of the year against these very same Rockies at Chase Field. Here's Tapia. That one will go out to left. Peralta runs it down. You know, Bob, our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer very correctly points out that so far Alex Avila has faced only one batter over the minimum.
He's dealing. Who knew?
He's got some stuff. Here's Valleca.
He's been efficient. 4 outs on 10 pitches. We've had at bats in this game that were 10 pitches long.
I tell you what. John Jay's out in right field. It's a community effort, I think, between both sides because just about every batter, whether they're wearing red or white, is swinging at the first pitch.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of wrap this up and move on, put it in the books, and we'll see you tomorrow. Almonte will hit for himself. Well, Tapper to third. Way to go.
Dealing.
Avila, nothing but bagels. Ninth inning coming up. Point led this game 1-0, 2 batters in. Goldie homered his 21st of the year. And then the Rockies responded with 19 unanswered. And you can see it's been all Colorado. Herman Marquez pitched a terrific ball game. And here is, off the DL, Brian Shaw, reinstated from the disabled list today. He'd been out with a right calf strain. And it has not been a good year for the free agent signee.
Striking out about a batter per inning, but 20 walks in 35 2/3 and 8 home runs surrendered.
I think you and I need to petition the commissioner's office, and I think we have a pretty good case to somehow find a way to get Alex Avila a hold. He's retired after a leadoff single. He's retired Avila 6 in a row. Somehow he's kept it at 19-2. So if we can get him a hold, I think it's mission accomplished.
I'm all for it.
You know somebody we can call? You must know people over there.
I know people that know people.
Peralta will lead it off in the ninth. Shaw has been booed off the mound here at Coors Field several times this year. He's sort of become the face of a Rockies bullpen that has blown up and imploded time and time again this year. He's had some ugly ones, including a couple against the Diamondbacks. This is out to left center. So he's trying to work his way back. A 3-year, $27 million free agent deal, and it so far has not worked out. Now Ketel Marte.
Still boggles my mind that any free agent pitcher would decide to come to Coors Field. Seems like a good idea. The ball flies, huge outfield. Base hits turn into doubles, doubles turn into triples. Yeah, that's where I want to go pitch.
Well, when they pay you, that's where you go.
I guess.
Descalso, who was the second baseman and then the pitcher and is now the first baseman, is on deck. And there is some history here with Daniel Descalso. According to Patrick Kurz, the first position player in D-backs history to pitch more than 1 inning. His 2 2/3 innings tonight, with the most by a true position player since Jose Oquendo threw 4. And of course, Alex Avila has worked to now 2 innings in the ball game.
Well, it's good to know if necessary you can get multiple innings out of Descalso and Avila.
He can give you some length, yeah.
Yeah.
The 2 of them. Well, let's see. Descalso came on with 1 out in the 4th. So it's been Descalso and Avila who have carried the mail since the 4th inning. Bullpen savers. Obviously, we're having some fun, but
yeah, you're absolutely right.
There's some there's a legitimate argument to that right there as Marte strikes out.
I mean, otherwise it's Andrew Chafin or Randall Delgado or Bradley or Boxberger. Somebody out of that bullpen had to eat up those innings, and in the case tonight, Daniel Descalso and Alex Avila were able to save those guys in the bullpen.
Odds that Descalso swings at the first pitch.
Well, I'd say they're pretty good.
Last man standing for the Diamondbacks. This thing may go under 3 hours. Ooh, taking all the way.
Yeah, we should have known about that. I bet Daniel Descalso, it doesn't matter if it's a tie game in the 9th inning or a 19-2 blowout, he's going to put together a good at bat. He's going to grind.
He is singled in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. D-backs with 6 hits. Well, the Indians beat the Reds today in Cleveland 19-4. Here in Colorado, it's 19-2. And the Rockies are a strike away. Colorado about to snap a 9-game losing streak here at Coors Field against the Diamondbacks. That is a record for this ballpark, which opened up in 1995. They will pick up a game on the D-backs. They'll be 3.5 back. Dodgers have come back to take the lead in San Diego 3-1. They're in the 4th. Giants beat the Cubs today.
How about Descalso and Avila go back to back?
I'm in. Oh, Shaw. 3-2. (19-2), 2 outs in the 9th inning, and he just walked a guy. Here comes Avila. Well, you know what they say, Descalso and Avila, and pray for rain or something.
Well, if Avila does go deep, that's going to send a lot of people scampering to the record books just to see if any position player who pitched ever shut out the opposing team and hit a home run.
Here's the pitcher, Avila. Descalso takes second uncontested. Alex has walked tonight. He's 0 for 2. Started out behind the plate, then took over at first for Goldie, then took over on the mound in relief of Descalso. Alex gave up a single to Desmond, then retired the next 6 he faced as the pitcher. By the way, you were absolutely right about Descalso putting together the at-bat. How about that?
Yeah.
You have some jokes and everything, but down 19-2, 2 outs in the 9th, he works a walk.
Grinds a walk, yep.
One and 2 on the D-back pitcher, Alex Avila. Struck him out, and that ends the ball game. Rockies win it 19-2. D-backs dropped to 6-2 against Colorado this year. And their 9-game winning streak here at Coors Field, a record for the Diamondbacks and for this ballpark, comes to an end.
Just get in that shower and wash this one off. Come back bright and early tomorrow for the day game and win a series. That's what they came here to do.
We'll take a break. Back from Coors Field after this.